Dr. Kemi lawyer for Dr. Kemi Health. On May 4th, 1988, I graduated as a health educator and a pharmacist. And I practiced for the last 37 years. And I just want to say thank you for the memories. This May 4th, 2025, on Sunday, will be my last day as a pharmacist and a health educator. In other words, I'm no longer going to be doing anything about health anymore. I'm gradually retiring out of all my professions and going into private life and resting. I've served all of you in every capacity. To those that followed me in Baltimore, Philadelphia, Atlanta, California, everywhere I practiced pharmacy, with every drugstore from Walgreens to Walmart to Giant to Rite Aid to CVS, Pharmastat sent me to so many pharmacies as a relief pharmacy. And I also, as a relief pharmacist, and I also worked straight up for Rite Aid and CVS in the beginning of my career. My longest career job was at CVS Pharmacy, which I started with as Eckerd, and I worked there for at least 18 years. So I'm an expert on retail, hospital, institutional, and consultant pharmacy. I did it all. I got an award from the White House in 1997 with regards to my work on drug abuse. I was also honored by the governor of Maryland, Paris Glendening, at the time. I want to thank Mrs. Glendening for the dinner, the award, and I also want to thank Mrs. Hillary Clinton the same way I did Mrs. Glendening. I went to the White House. Rest in peace to General Colin Powell, who organized the volunteer awards at the White House. I won it on the city, state, and and national level. It was just great. And what was I doing? I was doing drug abuse prevention in schools. The Believe program, the MAP program, which I created, Mending Addiction and Pregnancy in Pregnant Women, and the United States Department of Education, who incorporated my drug abuse programs in the Black community. I want to thank my congressmen and my senators who wrote that letter to the United States Department of Justice and the INS, Immigration and Naturalization Services. They gave me a green card in 24 hours. Green cards take 2 years. A National Interest Waiver Green Card, NIW, which made me an alien of exceptional ability in the sciences. This is what I did in America, that I came home. I made a huge mistake of listening to my father, who branded me as mentally unstable. I'm far from that. The Americans called me an alien of exceptional ability. To Congressman Ben Cardin, who became Senator Ben Cardin and retired earlier this year, thank you for your letter to the Justice Department. The late Congressman Elijah Cummings, John Lewis, and Sheila Jackson Lee, Texas, and also Maryland. They were all involved in the work I was doing because I was a Black woman helping the Black community in the 90s. Rest in peace to all those people, as well as General Colin Powell, like I said earlier. Also, I want to thank my living congressmen and senators. Most of them are just retired too. Senator Ben Cardin, Congressman Elijah Cummings passed away, like I said. Congressman Kwesi Mfume, who left Congress and came back again. He replaced Congressman Cummings. I want to thank you. I want to thank Congressman Dutch Ruppersberger, who was the county executive of Baltimore County at the time I won that award, and he also gave me the county award for that. I also want to thank Senator Barbara Mikulski, who was my senator in Maryland at the time. All my lawmakers saw good in me, but when I got to Nigeria, nobody saw good in me, thanks to my late father. You see why I have to redeem myself, but I don't need validation anymore. I've done it all. I see people writing, oh, one day the world will appreciate. The world already appreciated me. Nigerians did. And as I leave pharmacy today, the customer was the one that was most important. Everyone that wrote those nice letters from CVS Pharmacy, all the reviews, I want to thank you all. I read them all. I kept them for 30 years, 35 years. I'll put them at the end of this video. I want to thank all of you, my customers at CVS, especially in Govans, where I got the award for the company for my work in HIV and being one of the first 6 ProCare pharmacists in the nation. A ProCare pharmacist is a pharmacist whose expertise in fertility drugs and HIV. I was an AIDS expert. And I was at the top of my career. I was also the outpatient pharmacy director for Johns Hopkins in the community health centers. And while I was doing that, I was reaching out to the addiction center at Bayview, Johns Hopkins Hospital in Bayview, where the addiction center was, to all the students that I mentored at all the high schools in Baltimore. Shout out to all of you. Many of them are in their 30s now, 38, 39. They have moved on. They are mothers and fathers. All my students did well that I taught about drug abuse. And one of my students actually became the mayor of Baltimore. I used to go to Park High, so many high schools over there. Brandon Scott is the mayor of Baltimore. Yes, he was one of my students that I would go to their schools and volunteer. And then a 19-year-old young man that I met one chance at the mayor's office. Mayor Kurt Schmoke wrote me a beautiful letter for the work I was doing at that time. And he's also retired. The last I heard of Mayor Schmoke is he was working as a lecturer at the University of Maryland. And that young man that I met was 19 and he was an intern at the mayor's office. Today, he's the governor of Maryland and his name is Wes Moore. Shout out to you, Wes Moore. Shout out, Brandon. These are two Black leaders. Imagine, I'm still alive. I'm going to be 61. And I have Brandon Scott in Westmore, people I touched in some way, are now the mayor and governor of Maryland. Imagine a Black mayor and a Black governor. It's a wonderful time to be alive. And even though I'm 60 going on 61, I want to visit Baltimore sometimes soon to come and do some drug abuse volunteering and all that. I struggled with my autistic son, who's now 38. It was very violent. I was attacked a lot. I went through a lot. And you guys have seen what I went through with my family. And my sexual assaults at 13 coming out telling you all that. And finally, some people that gave me a chance to express my voice in this area was the National Drug Law Agency of Nigeria, NDLEA. I spent 30 months with the NDLEA on the live Twitter spaces, which is now called X Spaces. As a member of the panel every Friday for 30 months, I will come in and I will contribute in the discussion. There were 6 different times they made me a speaker and a co-speaker in some topics. We did a lot about fentanyl. Fentanyl is highly dangerous and how we could prevent fentanyl from entering Nigeria. Now you got to remember what we did with COVID. I did the best coverage of COVID-19 in Nigeria online, IJ COVID-19. And what I did and others largely prevented that epidemic from taking down Nigeria. And that's the same thing I did with Ebola in 2014. And that's the same thing I did with the NDLEA. I reached out to 7 governors. None of them wanted to work with me because they have the mentality of she's mentally unstable. This is the narrative that my father basically gave out there. But at the end of the day, I've done my work. I'm happy. My father's gone. He's no more. But I'm not trying to reclaim my name. My name has always been there. To those of you, okay, that loved my work, I want to thank you. This Sunday will be my last day as a health educator and a pharmacist. I did not practice at all in Nigeria, but I mostly did consultancy. And that consultancy work basically boiled around, educating you guys in different facets, okay? And most of my work was volunteer in that area. I volunteered with the NDLEA. I wasn't paid by them and I didn't ask them for money. Okay, so do something in your community. If you have a question, ask your pharmacist. Your local pharmacist will be able to answer your questions. And for now, I'm still going to be online. I'll be doing my own personal things. I have a personal blog at GBC, Global Blog Cafe on Facebook. If you want to be part of that community, just go to Facebook and join Global Blog Cafe. Finally, I want to shout out someone I worked with, and it's been a long, long time, Adrienne Banfield Norris. She was the head nurse at a pharmacy I worked in the inner city, in the ghettos, and mostly worked in the ghettos, Constant Care Medical Center. She's also Jada Pinkett's mother. Shout out to everybody. Thank you.